The Gingerbread Man is a draw, and it's a dark day in the lives of wrestling adults, most likely to run up in a black church and start spraying. The IWC's vocal minority and sexless majority wanted no part of the otherwise fun-loving build-up to the Gingerbread Man's funeral. And guess what? SmackDown pulled double-digit increases in total viewership and the key demo in what is supposed to be an era of artificially low ratings in wrestling. For all we know, the real Nielsen numbers could be closer to 1.7 or maybe even 2 milli for the fucking Gingerbread Man. All the traditionalist inside-the-box virgins and veterans got cooked by that cookie, which is the closest they'll ever be to anybody's cookies. Today, we're going to talk about the gingerbread draw, why it worked, and why hiring writers who know nothing about wrestling is a good thing? Subscribe in Swahili. SmackDown this past Friday drew 1.279 million viewers with a .29 rating in 18 to 49. Total viewership was up 11%, while 18 to 49 surged 16%. Amid AEW's Darby downfall, Dave Meltzer and the all-elite PR team flooded social media with the weak narrative that Nielsen's rating system changed again. Yeah, that's why Dynamite's viewership sunk to 590,000. Not because AEW took their world title off its biggest draw and gave it to a teenage stunt goth. Not because Ronda Rousey and Toni Storm aren't around. Not because most of AEW's top black talent has disappeared in favor of white excellence in its main event scene. It's the system, not the product, I swear. Tell that to Swerve Strickland, who tweeted and deleted a post about his lack of TV time during yet another AEW ratings freefall. AEW's dying dirt sheet media even used TNA as an example of how artificially low the ratings are. Nielsen's screwy numbers is a real thing. They are not to be trusted. But the ratings pattern is telling nothing but the truth. And if the sickos are going to blame Nielsen for artificially low numbers, then they have to give credit where it's due to the Gingerbread Man's SmackDown surge in ratings. Whatever number SmackDown did was always going to be directly tied to the Gingerbread Man, who was all over the show last week. The week prior, WWE promoted his funeral. In just about every segment, there was an AI video package featuring the Gingerbread Man in classic moments. This inspired ubiquitous memes of the Gingerbread Man at the Brawl In, the Gingerbread Man at the Brawl Out, and my personal favorite, the Gingerbread Man down for the cause as part of the Nation of Domination. God, I miss those days. Oh, and here's Gingerbread Man with Mama Shelton. Happy Black Mother's Day. With WWE ODing on gingerbread cookies, viewers responded favorably with a strong rating despite tough competition. In the same situation with a world title on the line, AEW Dynamite cratered. I asked you, the cookie cutter PWB subscriber, who's the bigger draw on television? And 69% of you said Gingerbread Man. Again. But let's get to the real reason this silly storyline worked. And it has nothing to do with Gingerbread Man as a character, but more so who and what the Gingerbread Man is associated with. We're about halfway through 2026, and between WWE and AEW, we're seeing a tale of two companies. WWE has finally decided to go all in on black culture, and it's paying off in spades, pun intended. Black American culture is the most valuable asset in the world, but AEW has zigged where WWE zagged in 2026 by only crowning white world champions. In WWE, Obafemi was a day one WrestleMania main eventer, and he retired Brock Lesnar for now. Javon Evans was over on day one and is a weekly highlight reel. Jade Cargill walked into WrestleMania as a world champion and had one of the best matches that weekend. Motherfuckers forget Bianca and Naomi carried the women's division before their baby mama arc. Trick Williams is another day one WrestleMania main eventer, and alongside Lil Yachty, this fire tandem's charisma carried the Gingerbread Man storyline. In fact, Lil Yachty literally played a dead Gingerbread Man before coming back to life. And this was symbolic of what black people are doing to WWE. Bad faith or not, WWE has had a lot of bad juju around it right now. WrestleMania 42 Night 1 was over-commercialized and over-criticized. WWE's cold and corporate ways continued when they parted ways with beloved stars in The New Day, Kairi Sane, and now Asuka, apparently. TKO's takeover has led to negative reactions even from within Triple H's own group chat. WWE Hall of Famer and Paul Levesque's fellow Click member Kevin Nash was recently critical of TKO's meddling.
You're not allowing me time to eat, so you will have food for me because I have to eat every 3 to 4 hours. And it assured me, man, I'm 60, I'll be 67 years old in fucking July. That's elder abuse. To starve me like that, that's elder abuse, man. What the fuck?
A far cry from the universal praise for WWE's cinematic era in 2024, the wrestling company that a lot of people thought they knew feels dead. But like Yachty rising up from his casket, black culture has revived WWE, and it will ultimately save them. To the naked eye, AEW seems like a progressive, gritty underdog. But in practice, AEW's booking is fine-tuned for the growing contingent of white supremacist manosphere bros. Through the first half of 2026, every world champion, both men and women, has been white. Women get limited TV time, and 7 years in, AEW is on the verge of going 50 straight pay-per-views without a women's match ever headlining. I've said it before, and I'll scream it again. If you're one of those white men who Erica Kirk talked about, who shouldn't be ashamed of being white, who misses the way wrestling used to be when black people and women were marginalized, then AEW is the company for you. I'm not even saying they're doing this on purpose. I wouldn't watch AEW if I thought they were. But Tony Khan's implicit bias favors technical wrestling and work rate, which is the ultimate dog whistle for white people wrestling. Black culture isn't about technicality and precision. It's a feeling. Hip-hop, Def Jam comedy, and one basketball, and countless staples of the culture are filled with slang words, freestyling, clowning, behind-the-back dribbles with Duke Tango doing commentary right there on the court. Oh, baby! Black culture consists of all the things that key in the face of technicality. Something called an Andrew Anderson released a viral list of the top technical wrestlers, and it was whiter than the inside of Nancy Reagan's throat. 9 technical wrestlers were white, and none of them were black. Technical wrestling is the equivalent to speaking proper, and this is coming from a proud, proper-speaking black man with a goated vocabulary. I'll bet if you released a list of the most exciting and charismatic wrestlers, that shit would double as the electric slide at Trick and Lash's wedding. AEW is where the best wrestle. They pride themselves on having the best technical wrestling in the world. That branding lends itself to mostly white talent being pushed, and that formula has led to another ratings collapse for AEW Dynamite. Remember, Dynamite was bombing back in the summer of 2025 before the first Nielsen change with white skinheads all over the main event. Because once you go white, the ratings get light. WWE's diversity is not limited to skin color. Behind-the-scenes changes has contributed to new ideas that are connecting with wrestling fans whose whole personality isn't limited to an anime profile pic. WWE has no less than 3 female writers on its staff, and it's led to outrage from the same type of people who thought they were losing the country when Obama won. After a shakeup that saw the departure of longtime head writer Road Dogg Brian James, WWE injected its writers' room with younger, more female staff that may or may not have grown up watching wrestling. Regardless, who gives a fucking shit? Not to brag, but I'm one of the best stand-up comedians in the country. I even wrote and performed my own dry bar comedy special titled Little Jokes, new special out now. But I'm also a big fan of diversity of thought when it comes to a writer's room. I want blacks, whites, Jews, Asians, men, women, troglodytes, because empirical evidence has taught me that the more diverse a workplace, the higher the profits. It's okay for WWE to hire somebody who didn't grow up watching wrestling because WWE is filled with people like Triple H, Michael P.S. Hayes, AJ Styles, Hurricane Shawn Michaels, and a murderer's row of ex-talent that knows everything about wrestling. Behind the scenes, WWE's office is brimming with the barnyard full of goats. But in order to connect with a broader range of viewers, a broader range of creative is necessary. If WWE can build main eventers like Trick Williams and Obafemi from scratch, then in that very same vein, they can teach talented writers about the business. Tony Khan, as a booker, is a wrestling junkie. He grew up on message boards. He has an autistic catalog of wrestling memories. I don't know if I've brought this up, but Tony Khan used to be a junior correspondent for the Wrestling Observer newsletter, which is like if Clark Kent was an intern for 4chan. Tony Khan also ignores advice from veteran wrestlers way smarter than him and just books matches for the sake of booking matches. That's cool if you want to see good wrestling, but nationally televised serial wrestling for 52 weeks out of the year has to give fans an incentive to keep coming back beyond these two WrestleBots are going to have a great match. That's why WWE is finding success by going outside of the box. They've introduced AI. They're not just using wrestling matches to fill time, they're telling an actual story where even the voice of the sourpuss internet wrestling fan is represented through Sami Zayn's own outrage with last week's funeral. Everybody complaining about AI, hiring women writers, and all this storytelling in WWE will go the way of most people who fight Darwinism. Right up there with people who complain about their favorite magazines going digital. Right up there with the devil-damn dirt sheets who are scrambling to survive by firing their editors and writers, shouts to the hillbillies at Body Slam and Cracker Cultaholic. This ain't your grandfather's wrestling. It's bigger, it's better, and most importantly, it's blacker. The Gingerbread Man has taught us that black talent will be able to get over angles that sound silly on paper. That is an invaluable intangible. Even Triple H admitted that he doesn't write Trick Williams' stuff. He just relies on wrestling's most charismatic star to do his thing and draw some money. What a concept. Meanwhile, AEW's ratings keep dying in the failing white-leaning Darby Allin era. And for more on AEW's decline, check out this video.